Yeah, I've had the pleasure to work with Dr. Wang for the past 19 years. It's been fantastic, Dr. Wang. You'll always be missed. Of course, Dr. Wang. Very Anyway, when my wife and I, we first came to Fond du Lac 19 years ago, I remember going on house calls with Dr. Wang. I'll never forget that. You know, all the things you taught me, Dr. Wang, I'll never be forgotten. Fantastic human being. You'll always be missed, and I hope we get still golf as we move on here. So thank you for everything, Doctor.
Hello. Hi, Wang. It's been a pleasure to work with you all these years. And I hope you have a very enjoyable retirement. Thank you very much.
My dear Dr. Wang, there's so much been said that I can't say much more, except I know that all of your patients have been very, very lucky to have you as their doctor. And I also know that we are very, very blessed to have you as our friend. God bless you.
Hello. I don't want everyone to be fooled here because there's been some awesome things said about you, and we love you dearly. Your spirit is beautiful. You taught many of us how to be better human beings for sure. But just to clarify one thing, many times I would come to you and I would say, Dr. Wang, blah, 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 and you would say, you crazy. Consequently, many people here call me Crazy Kate. Not true. And I would just like to say, you crazy.
It reminds me of something I have to say. I'm Cindy, and I was his first dosimetrist way back in, 93, and I worked for him for 8 years, and I can honestly say he's my favorite radiation oncologist. And I worked along with Kate, and she's a blast. And I, to this day, call her Crazy Kate. She gives me the look, but that was from Dr. Wang, and it was so fun. But we had so many good times, and I've been in radiation oncology 37 years, and I started in 75, and my favorite job is still with Dr. Wang, and all of my friends, Annie and Kate and Tim and Bill, and we just had a blast at work, and we'd be laughing so hard, and he'd come running out of his office, and come out and goes, "This is not a supermarket!" We were crazy funny, and we had such a good time working with Dr. Wang, and he is truly all about the patient, and he wasn't afraid to talk to the patients on the fly in the hall, and I mean, he always worried about everything, not just their cancer, so he was an awesome doctor.
Oh, Dr. Wang, what are we going to do without you? Who are we going to mess with now? You're like a total target for us. We could mess with Dr. Rainer. Yeah. Or we could go over to chemo side. Dr. Bumper. We love you, Dr. Wang. Happy retirement.
The only thing I can say, Dr. Wang, is you're the best.
Dr. Wang, it's been an absolute pleasure being your receptionist for the last 7.5 years. You are going to be truly missed.
Dr. Wang, I haven't worked with you for a few years, but the time that I spent in Fine Art was the best. And we've been waiting for retirement since I began in Fine Art. It was over 9 years ago. So I'm blessed to be here and honor you in retirement, at retirement, Dr. Wang.
Dr. Wang, Steph and I are two of the newer employees at the Cancer Center, and I can confidently say that from the very first moment we walked into that door, you made us feel welcome and loved, and we're really going to miss having you around here today.
And along those lines, beyond making us feel like family, you really showed us what it is to be a true professional. We work in such a very unique field, and I want to thank you and grandmother too for showing us what it means to really care about the whole patient and to love what we do.
I also want to say thank you for the opportunity for the past 12 years. You've been an awesome doctor to work with. The one thing I take away is your emphasis on creating an environment of family at the Cancer Center and to truly care for and love every person that we work with. And your generosity and your caringness will always be remembered. I just feel like I have learned so much from working under you, and you will definitely be missed. On the funny side, I have to say Dr. Wang was the one person I felt I had to hid from when I was pregnant and needed to eat a snack during the day, because he was always very concerned about how much weight the pregnant ladies at the Cancer Center.
Dr. Wang, it's been a pleasure to work with you for 12 years to the day, and you will be missed more than you know. And the quality of patient care that you've delivered to your patients over the past years will always be remembered by all of my fellow co-workers, and we love you. Take care.
I'm at the Cancer Centers volunteering some 20 years, thanks to Dr. Wang. In 1989 or 1990, he wrote a letter to our authorities and asked if there wasn't some sister that would be willing to come to the Cancer Center to be with the patients. Well, that was right up my line, because I was quitting full-time teaching and going into the foster grandparent program, where I could only work with slow students or students who had missed school and needed work to be made up, and I would help them. So I wanted something for the afternoon. And when I went to see my coordinator about joining the foster grandparent program, she said, well, Rebecca, do you want the afternoon off? You're old enough, you can take the afternoon off. And I said, oh no, let me go down by the elevator. There was a table there, and notices of that kind, you know, like a letter from Dr. Wang, were lying on that table. So I said, let me go down by that elevator first. I went down there and I picked up his letter, and I came back to my coordinator and said, this is what I want to do in the afternoon. And so she didn't say one word to me. She just went to the phone, called Dr. Wang, and said, I have somebody. And he said, send her over. So I've been at the Cancer Center some 20 years and love it, thanks to Dr. Wang.
Dr. Wang, I have not had a lot of interaction with you on a medical part because my patients have too much cancer, but every time I ran into him in the corridor, he'd stop me, pull my head down and say, "You're worth about $3 million." I see him 2 years later and he said, "Oh, you're worth maybe $4 million." Apparently it's an Asian thing, the older you get, the more money you make. I'm expecting my hair to grow back pretty soon.
Well, I can honestly say I've never worked with Dr. Wang. However, my wife works at the cancer center, and every once in a while you have to show up and get things done. Well, you know, talking about corridors, that's where I always saw him. He never was in his office. And that's all, he'd say hi. And the first question is, how can I cure my slice? Well, he's asking an expert who shoots well over 100 sometimes. And I said, your first mistake is trying. But anyway, I just want to say, it was a pleasure knowing you. And from the stories that I've heard here tonight, you are the true physician.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, Dr. Wang, it's Margot here. This was written in '09. Chris just gave it to me. And it must have been for something that
We were going to have his 30th anniversary, and he wouldn't allow me to have his 30th.
his 30th anniversary, and he wouldn't allow a party. Okay, well, you got it now. This is what I wrote. My earliest memory of Dr. Wang was in the elevator in the old part of the hospital that doesn't even exist anymore. The door opens up, and he points at my pregnant tummy and says, "It's a boy." Now, I had my babies in the old days, before ultrasounds were the norm. I thought he was pretty amazing, and that opinion hasn't changed since our first encounter in 1981. Besides being an excellent physician, respected by all he worked with, he has a heart that is big, soft, sweet, and full of fun. He loves jokes and laughs easily. We all just wish that his golf swing came as spontaneous as his laugh. But that's what the hallway at CWCP, now ACC, is for. Good thing his clubs aren't long enough to touch the ceiling tiles. I'm grateful for all the years that I have known Dr. Wang, and I pray for many, many, many more. And oh, by the way, he was right about the sex of all 3 of our kids. Enjoy the party. Tonight, I'm glad I didn't miss it. Best wishes, love, Margot. P.S. Bill says congratulations, too. And also about all those samples you always offered us, Dr. Wang, we're okay. Love you.
That was so funny. Dr. Wang, this is Christy. I know your back is to me. But like Grant and Stephanie, I'm one of the newer employees at the Cancer Center. And you, from the first day, have treated me with kindness, much like a father and a friend. And one thing I have learned about you is that you treat your patients and their families with the utmost dignity, no matter what their circumstance, no matter what they come to us looking like, or their financial circumstance. And you are the epitome of humility. God bless you, Dr. Wang.
Well, I didn't prepare anything. I didn't think this was actually going to be like this, but I have to say it's absolutely remarkable to me how old the people are here. I mean, I see 2 guys that I started out with in 1982 at 505 East Division. I can't believe we're all still alive. And maybe it's hardly living, I don't know. Anyways, you know, Wang is, I mean, we do a lot of cases together and all that, but Wang was always, you know, he's always very concerned about everybody, you know, beyond the obvious in radiation therapy. And I know that through the years he's always tried to give me a lot of advice, you know, I mean, about he always seemed to think that there were elements of Chinese medicine that were sort of missing in my regimen. He'd talk about, oh, these lines that went from here to there inside me, and, you know, that my, whatever it was, what is it, chi? Something was being disturbed. And I never quite grasped any of it, really. And there came a time, actually, when I started to doubt whether he was really concerned about my health at all. It was a case of attempted murder. You know, Wang is considered quite a sage amongst some Taiwanese expatriates who have settled in the United States. There are quite a few of them in Chicago, and whenever anyone wants to make a business move, the families make them come and get Wang's blessing as to whether this is an excellent business venture. You know what I'm saying is true. And so as a result, there are quite a few successful businessmen that have gotten Wang's blessing that are down in Chicago. So one time the family wanted to go down to a Chinese restaurant down there in Michigan Avenue. So Wang set the whole thing up for us, and my wife and my kids and my uncle and my aunt, we all went there, figuring it was nice enough for him to make the reservation. Well, anyhow, about 8 courses later, you know, we were all ready to die, and we didn't really have the strength to protest when the guy told us it's all on the house because Wang paid for the whole bloody thing. Well, you know, we were pretty sick from all that food. And then what happened was when we got out on the road there and hailed a cab, my daughter decided that she wasn't going to get in. So I had to carry her all the way across the bridge, past the Wrigley building and up to the Hyatt up there, and if that ain't a stress test, I don't know what is. Anyways, that's it.
Hi, Dr. Wang, it's Liz. I'm also one of the newer employees, but I'm definitely going to just smile on the face, and even though I've known you for over a year, I feel like I'm one of those people out there that have known you for 20. You're just an awesome, awesome man.
Hi, Dr. Wang, it's Tammy. And Dr. Vanderpoy and I were counting one day, and for the past 28 years, I probably worked with 40 different physicians, and they didn't all fire me. But in the past 6, I got to work with, in the radiation department with Dr. Wang. And definitely, you are one of the top on the list. You're the best, Dr. Wang.
Thank you, everybody, and I just want to say one thing. I want to make sure.
We love you. Thank you.
Dr. Wang. I've known Dr. Wang for 40 years. He's my upper classmate. I know him since Chicago, and actually he introduced me to Fond du Lac, and then we get him back in Fond du Lac. We're very fortunate to have him. Besides what everybody says, I think I kind of summarize. First of all, he's a very, very generous person. Whenever you go out restaurant with him, you never have to pay. You just pretend you're getting your money wallet. You always get it taken care of first. And at the same time, we were in Chicago in the same apartment for 12 years. My wife just came from Taiwan, and she learned everything cooking from Li Qi. And she is a very, very good cooker, and she can prepare fish in 5-10 minutes in short notice. And we all know that he's a very generous person, and he's a very serious physician. When he's taking care of a patient, you want to know he can take care of that correctly. A couple of things I think Dr. Avery has mentioned. One is he's a good fortune teller. He can tell you a fortune by looking at you, by looking at your hand, and look at your house. So when Marco says that he can tell it's a boy or girl, you know for sure. It's not just guessing. One other thing is about the golf. He and I play golf quite often, and he always say, "Why?" And when he got the ball straight on the fairway, he would say, "There's no distance." And I said, the distance is not as important as direction. He said, "There's no distance." And, so I think once he retires, we'll have more time to get this thing straight. Congratulations.
I've been at Agnesian Healthcare for a number of years, and I've worked with Dr. Wang. And anytime Dr. Wang's name comes up in any conversation, people tend to smile and giggle. And why is that? Because his spirit is so alive, and he has such a deep, deep concern for others. Thank you.
Most of the people in this room were born before this, but in the spring of 1979, we had a crisis of significance. We had the highest radiation therapy unit in the United States. This was on the 7th floor of the hospital in the old X-ray department. It was a Cobalt-60 unit. And the Cobalt-60 had died, needed to be replaced. And the two radiologists who were doing their best to do radiation therapy said, "Well, we can't do this anymore." And the hospital said, "Well, we're going to buy another source." And we were seeing about 1 new lung cancer a week in St. Agnes. Heavy smoking time, lots of lung cancer, no chemotherapy, they're all getting radiated. And we had nobody to do it, it looked like a terrible crisis. So we set up a committee to recruit, and we met some guy, not too impressive, didn't really like him. And then we heard about this guy who trained at the University of Chicago and wanted to come look at a job in Florida like that. Really? He's not going to come here, but he came out and met us, and even after he had dinner with us, he decided to stay. And we've been blessed for many decades. Thanks, Doc.
Another county.
Big fryer.
He won't get up.
It's good you're retiring.
Wait a second. You guys did that a lot smoother years ago.
I've done that 150 times at least. And the best part of your retirement is I'm having harder getting off my knees. Aren't you? Your girl has been one of the pillars of the community, the foundation of Agnesian Healthcare, and you're going to be missed.
Dr. Wang.
Words cannot describe how honored and privileged I feel to have worked under you. You're a big part of why I made it such a strong goal to get back to Fond du Lac. Working under you, there's a lot of things I learned. Among the top are, if you're between patients, it is okay to take a little nap in your office if you're a doctor. If you approach and treat your patients with the humility and respect that you give them, you can say anything to them. And 2, or 3, that you love a good joke. So I've prepared one. A gentleman by the name of John O'Malley was at his last day of work. It was his final day. The gentleman that he worked with, they kind of all agreed to head to the local pub after work to have a few drinks. The pub that they went to was having a toasting party, or contest. And so, you know, the boys are kind of coaxing John to compete in the toast competition. So he gets up there, and he raises his glass, and his toast is, "Here's to the rest of me life. Here's to spending the rest of me life between the legs of me wife." And of course, the bar's hooting and hollering, all of his buddies from work are cracking up over this, they think it's hilarious. And sister, I'm sorry for where this joke is about to go. So of course John wins the competition. So he's got a pretty good one tied on. He goes home, sleeps it off. The next morning, his wife is up making breakfast, and John finally gets up, of course with a hangover, and she says to him, "Oh, John, did you have a good night last night at the bar?" John says, "Oh, I won the toasting contest too." And she says, "Oh, well, what toast was it?" And all of a sudden, John's going, "Oh, all right," trying to think quick on his feet, and he says, "Oh, it was here's to spending the rest of me life sitting in church next to me wife." And she goes, "Oh, aye, that was a good one." So later on in the day, his wife Mary is out in town running some errands. And John's co-workers happen to see Mary standing on the street corner, and all of a sudden they're kind of snickering, looking at each other, going, "Oh, hey, there's Mary, oh, you know." And they say to Mary, "Oh, hey, Mary, did you hear John won this toasting contest at the bar, and it was about you?" And she says, "Aye, he told me." And the guys kind of step back, and they're going, "What, really?" And Mary says, "I'm a bit confused though. You see, he's only been there twice in the last 5 years. And once he fell asleep. And the other time I had to pull him by the ears to make him come."
Champagne in here. If we could all toast him. Happy anniversary. Big chin.
Got some.
All Everybody get your drinks.
Oh, we didn't do it yet.
Happy anniversary and happy retirement, Dr. Wang. You earned it. I know out of all the people he loves his family so very, very much. And I'm so proud of him to be just the best person in the world. Thank you very much.
Before my dad speaks, my older brother, wrote a little note he wanted to, have me read to everybody here. And I figured I should read it before Nico eats the rest of this paper. But my older brother, he's 4 years older than me. We moved here when I was 4. For Dad to start up his job here. And so I really, Fond du Lac is my home. And I grew up here, and I've lived across the world, and we've recently, my husband and I, Cameron, recently moved back to Milwaukee. And I'm really, really happy to be here tonight to see all these faces that I remember throughout the years, and to be here to help applaud my father. You know, for the child, they always look up to the parent. They can really do no wrong. No, that's not true. They can do wrong sometimes. But I do have to say, and I noticed my brother's speaking points are very similar to mine, so thanks, Mike. He wrote all of this for me. But what we really wanted to say was that we knew as we were growing up how hard Dad was working. But what we also thought was really remarkable is that we never felt like the family came second or anything like that. As a matter of fact, it always felt like we were very much first. We got a lot of attention, good and bad, a lot of attention. And it really helped shape us and just give us the umbrella, the direction we wanted for the rest of our life. And so this is from my brother, Michael, who some of you might remember. It's a school night, so he's in Kentucky with his wife, Takako. He couldn't be here tonight, but he wanted to congratulate Dad and say hello to everybody. So this is Mike. In the Chinese zodiac, my father was born under the symbol of the sheep. And according to Chinese mythology, there are several strengths of a sheep that I believe accurately describe my father. Devoted. Despite his responsibilities serving his community and providing the best possible care for his patients, he always made time for his family. Growing up, my sister and I never felt like we were taking a backseat to his career. On the contrary, if you were to ask us back then, we'd probably say he was too involved. Kind-hearted. One of the things that stands out to me when I look back is how supportive he was. Whenever I wanted to aspire to do something, it was rare that he ever said that I couldn't do it, or don't bother because I won't succeed. It was rare that, rather, he would always, he was always there with a helping hand or kind words of support. That's not to say he didn't demonstrate the next strength of a sheep, wisdom. Regardless of what I wanted to do, he always seemed to have an opinion on how I should go about doing it. Whether or not I listened, and if that's a strength or weakness, well, that's another topic entirely. Compassion. As an oncologist, my father undoubtedly interacted with patients that were dealing with one of the most challenging events in their lives. To be truly effective in that line of work, one needs not only the technical expertise to treat the disease, but also have the ability to provide emotional support in their time of need. In that regard, I believe my father, along with the dedicated staff at St. Agnes, have been able to treat not only their physical ailments, but also their emotional as well. I feel I should stop here, since one weakness of a sheep is that they like flattery, and I don't wish to feed his ego more than is necessary to make my point. Well put, Mike. And that is, growing up like many children, I wanted to be just like my dad. As I got older, like many children, I worried that I was becoming too much like my dad. However, as I reflect on his contributions to his family and community, I can think of no better fate than to become just like him. As he begins his new journey in life, I hope that I have the opportunity to demonstrate these traits and live up to his legacy. And I just wanted to add to my brother's notes here as we congratulate our father. My mom is a dog in the Chinese zodiac of things, and as many of you know that if you see any sheep not too far away, there's always a herding dog. Very close by. I wanted to make this point. It's very important to me because I think that all the successes of my father are very much the successes of my mother. They go hand in hand. She has always provided the guiding direction for him to the clothes he wears every day, and also to my brother and myself. And as today is their 42nd wedding anniversary, and we never celebrate it, I'm really happy to do so tonight, to celebrate his retirement. Well done, Dad. You did do well. And Mom, who's got Nico right now, congratulations to her as well. Thank you.
I had to say something. So many kind of negative words advice, but I really truly thank you for everybody's kind words. And the only thing I want to say, in all my life, last 32 years in Fondura and in Chicago, my principal life is always the patient first. I care my patient. No matter what they say, go. You know, I always tell my friend or my family, everybody can lose temper, but doctor cannot lose temper. You didn't hit your face one side, keep another side. Because you can fight back, you have bad criminal manner. That's not good reputation. But I love everybody, truly, because you help me grow. And my success here is not because of me, because of everybody. Dr. Mikos brought me here in 1979. Dr. Masik, Dr. Farms, Dr. Schuster helped me to grow. They teach me every day. Dr. Farms teach me how to treat a patient, how to run politics in the hospital. I love without you, I cannot be successful. Most important is I have perfect medical staff, co-worker department. My technologist, my dosimetrist, my physics, my manager, they are top of line. You know, because they help, we grow. After this day, before I retire, I think St. Anne Hospital Cancer Treatment Center is top in the state, top in the country too. We do all the most current technologies. The new doctor, Dr. Koriko, Dr. Manapui, they performed an outstanding job. All this because everybody. We work together. We got best medical oncology department, Dr. Joe Number, So I had to retire. Why I had to retire? Because my age, and I'm getting older, and I got a grandkid to take care of. I miss this place. Found that second house is my home, and this place is stay longest in my life. So before my departure, I wish everybody good health. Most important, good health in your life. Not money, it's good health. And thank you for everything I did. I appreciate it. Thank you. I just say, one person I say more to my wife. She helped me. Besides that, people say I'm a positive, I'm pretty good doing that. So, if you have any question, call me.